in high definition. This is KCAL 9 News at noon.
Identity theft, one of the fastest growing crimes in this country right now, and it's as easy as losing your wallet or someone stealing your mail.
And now those scammers are going after kids. They can steal your child's identity. You might not know about it for years.
But there are some things that parents can do to protect their children. Experts say that there are actually 4 warning signs.
Joe Mason joining us now. He's actually written a book on the subject. It is called Bankrupt at Birth. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So you wrote an entire book about this because it's become a new trend. It's happening more often. What should parents be looking out for?
Well, you raise a great point, Sandra. It's a huge problem. It's becoming a big trend, and part of the reason we wrote the book is to raise awareness. This year, there'll be about 10 million people who are victims of identity theft, and about a third of those are going to be kids, teenagers, and young adults. There are some warning signs that parents need to be on the lookout for. First, they need to know that thieves do want their child's identity. Their social security number, and to a lesser extent, date of birth, name, address, are less relevant. But the social security number is something that thieves go after, and what they do is they create synthetic identities as a result. Some warning signs that parents can be on the lookout for is to check their mailbox for anything that they may receive, any unsolicited mail, any credit card offers, or when the phone rings, if it's someone asking information about their child or a bill collector asking for information about their child, that's certainly a red flag.
And the mail that they received or the credit card offers are going to be in the kids' names?
Could be in the kids' names, exactly. And what many parents kind of fail to realize is they don't pay attention to it. Typically, it's junk mail to them. And when that child becomes old enough to either apply for a job or get a credit card or get a cell phone, oftentimes they're denied because someone has tarnished their credit, and the parent and the child is left to clean up the mess.
So you wouldn't know about it for years, especially if you have a very young child who's not taking advantage of credit offers or anything like that. You said also the DMV is someplace people show up and they get a big surprise.
Yeah, at the DMV, sometimes a child turning 16 years old, going to get his driver's license, very excited, will be hit with unpaid parking tickets, as an example where someone has used their identity to basically try to avoid the charge.
And is it too late at that point? I mean, somebody already has your identification out there, and well, it's just a kind of a recovery and try to make up process?
It is kind of a recovery. If there is suspicion that something has gone wrong, the first thing to do is contact the credit bureaus and find out if a file exists on the child. And if a file does exist on the child, what they can do is ask that account be frozen. And they can file a police report and talk to any of the accounts that have been open and make sure those accounts are closed and make sure they're closed as a result of a fraud that occurred.
As anybody who's been through this knows, it's a big hassle, but it's not just an inconvenience. This is a crime, and you should probably talk to police.
It is absolutely a crime, and filing a police report is definitely one thing that we recommend. Children who are victims of identity theft typically find themselves in debt around $12,000, which ends up being something that the parents got to kind of navigate through on behalf of the child.
Where does somebody get my child's ID?
It's a great question. If you think about it as your child is being raised, and you think about the number of times they're at a pediatrician's office or at daycare or at school or a sports team, so often the social security number is used as the identifier for that child. And once that social security number gets in the wrong hands, it could be someone kind of in the back office, or it could be organized crime that has pretty sophisticated ways of getting this information.
So should you just not write it down? Should you just ask them, keep it on file somewhere else?
Yeah, a few recommendations for parents. One is to not be shy about asking why someone needs it. So sports teams, schools, other places like that are less needy of such a number, obviously resist giving it. If you do feel obligated to give it at a doctor's office, for example, and oftentimes a social is used as an identifier, ask how it's going to be protected, and if something happens to it, if there's a breach in any way, how are they going to be notified?
It's also important to keep records if this does happen of who you've notified and who knows what. That's
an excellent point. Every time that the child's social security number is provided by the parent, it's a good idea to keep track of where it's been provided. Therefore, if something does happen, they have a record of it.
There are a lot of companies out there advertising that they can help you with this problem. Do you recommend any of those?
Sure, there are plenty of services on the market, Identity Guard being one, that provides surveillance over the parent's information and the child's information. And that's very good coverage that parents can have. It's an additional step, and basically it's a monitoring service that alerts you if the information is being used in any suspicious way.
All right, good information. Another responsibility for us parents.
That's
Thank you,
right.
Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks. Again, Joe Mason's book is Bankrupt at Birth. For more information about the book and child ID theft, just go to kcal9.com, click Seen on TV.